Coverage of the abortion bill and what it contains, visit nccapital.com. Paul, thanks.
Thank you.
We're getting our first look at video of the arrest of a man who police say shot and killed 5 people in Texas, including a child. There he is being led away. An anonymous tip led police to Francisco Oropeza. Now, officials say at least 4 others have also been arrested, including his wife. NBC's Sam Brock reports Oropeza was found just a few minutes from the scene of the crime.
The man accused of murdering 5 people, including a 9-year-old child, is currently sitting behind bars right now awaiting a $5 million bond hearing as this community is just trying to come to terms with what is apparently now the end of a 4-day-long sprawling manhunt that took authorities all over the area. Originally, there were thoughts that he could be in another part of Texas or even in Mexico, but it turns out that Francisco Oropeza was about 15 minutes away at a private residence in Cut-and-Shoot, Texas. Now, it was an FBI tip that allowed authorities to get there in the first place, where they found him hiding in a closet, according to the sheriff, underneath clothing. Now, there are new developments this morning as well. We're learning about multiple arrests, no more than 5, but at least several, according to the deputy sheriff here, potentially linked to those who were aiding and abetting Oropeza as he was on the run. It turns out that earlier in the week, what we're told was a false alarm with a flooding of resources going for a spotting of the suspect that actually was confirmed to be him. Now, we're told that he was not in this private residence the entire time, but ultimately did obtain another cell phone and was using that to contact people, and perhaps that contributed to how authorities were able to trace him back to this house. Lastly, there were so many questions about how long it took local police to respond to the massacre in the first place. Some of the survivors saying it was 20 or 30 minutes after they were calling 911 repeatedly. What the deputy sheriff said here today is that the infrastructure in that area, and particularly the roads, is incredibly poor, and that they had to divert deputies from an aggravated robbery just to get to that scene in a neighborhood where there is gunfire, we are told, every single night, only to discover the worst possible scenario. That is the latest in Cold Spring. I'm Sam Brock, NBC News. Back to you.
During the pandemic, drug overdoses rose to record levels. That's according to a new report by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention. The data shows that the rise of fentanyl is connected to drug overdose deaths across the country. Fentanyl is 50 to 100 times more potent than morphine. It was the most common drug in overdoses across all ages and genders. Nearly 70,000 people died from fentanyl in 2021. Close to 300 people have been arrested in a global dark web drug operation. Police have seized more than $53 million in cryptocurrency. The investigations were part of a global crackdown on drug trafficking. Law enforcement are saying this is the first of its kind. Most of the arrests took place in the U.S.
Shaw University will have another month to address concerns with